I felt that. I felt that when I was starting to pass. Just the universe taking care of me. Man. The universe taking care of me and everything just happening. And then I talked to Chief. He was like, I was so nervous. I was so nervous to talk to Chief. He was like, so you want to come here, huh? I was like, yes, I do. I remember he commented on my post. I was so happy. He was like, you were always chosen. I will never forget that. He commented on my post. I was like, oh my gosh. He was just in a natural essence with their solar panels out, so natural. I was like, and then they had 2 people open the gates. I'm going to heaven. I was like, I'm going into heaven. And the sun was just blazing on him. I was like, oh my God.
It's really sad how Efuru is up here talking about how Natureboy, prior to her meeting him, swept her off her feet and left a comment underneath one of her posts and said she was the chosen one, which we all know he probably said it to multiple women on the duration of the time that he was melanated in carbonation to recruit these women to come over to be slaves and servants to all of his wants and his needs. And I don't understand how she does not identify this going forward, that Natureboy was not for her. He actually, in fact, was against her. He has been holding on to a grudge with Efuru for quite some time because of her on accident dropping baby Ileana and him feeling as though she had a personal with his child. Ever since then, he held on to that grudge, and her not being melanated enough and having the white man in her, as he would say, sounding so foolish. He had a lot of resentment for Efuru.
I felt that. I felt that when I was starting to pass. Just the universe taking care of me. Man. The universe taking care of me and everything just happening. And then I talked to Chief. He was like, I was so nervous. I was so nervous to talk to Chief. He was like, so you want to come here, huh? I was like, yes, I do. I remember he commented on my post. I was so happy. He was like, you were always chosen. I will never forget that. He commented on my post. I was like, oh my gosh. He was like, you were always chosen to do this and walk this path. I was like, oh snap. And then I was like, so where do y'all live? He was like, what do you mean where we live? You go down 3 mountains, go left on the turn left on the 3rd coconut tree. I was like, damn, you deep in the jungle. I remember driving there. It was deep in the jungle. It was deep, and I just was pulling up, and I seen all the tents. Then I seen everybody that was standing in formation with their arms behind their back. And a woman that was just in a natural essence with their solar panels out, so natural.
And I know she has to, because he's gone now, he's locked up. She does still have time to sit with herself. He, after hours, cannot be on the phone with her when it's rest time for them. After a certain time of the night, she does have time to sit with herself. And I know she knows herself that Natureboy is not for her. I think that it's the being used to somebody factor, not that the person is good for that person. They're used to being subjected to the abuse physically and mentally, so the abuse becomes the norm, and you made yourself rationalize with yourself that it's okay, and it's to the point where you was faking it till you made it. Now you believe that it's okay to be in this situation. You probably try to make it make sense in your own mind why this is happening to you, and in a lot of ways they probably all blame themselves every time there's a fallout or disagreement with Nature Boy and he's in his feelings, they blame themselves. Maybe even him being locked up now for why, you know, he's in the situation that he's in and they're free.
Kind of stuck. I was like, oh my gosh. And then Chief, he was just standing up there like this. He had his locks. He was in the middle and everybody else was on the side of him. It was like God and his angels in heaven. He was standing there like this. He had his little black pants on. He was like this in the sun. And I stood there, I was like, I really just wanted to bow and just, I was like, starstruck.
So it's really sad that these women are being brainwashed to this point. It's really sad that they don't see that he was gorilla pimping, aka trying to finesse them because they were young. And he was young before, and as we all know, because this is how he turned out the way he turned out, he was somewhere along the line prior to even meeting these young girls, was their age and was taken advantage of. You know, whether it was through the system, through a relationship with a man or a woman. He's been through turmoil in relationships with family and relationships with men and women. And I say that because it's very questionable about, does he even love women? Does he respect women? Or is this a facade? I mean, does he hate women? This is why he treats Malia, Efuru, and Aya the way that he treats them. And is this why he's making it okay to put the wool over their eyes like they're stupid and make them think that he is happy, that they're supporting him? Or again, is he taking advantage of the fact that they are fools, with a false sense of thinking that they love Nature Boy, 𝗪𝗪𝗧𝗖𝗛, aka 3 God, not knowing that they don't know what love is. They may have loved themselves at one point in time, but they lost the focus of that love's not supposed to hurt, and they're not supposed to be subjecting themselves to this kind of treatment. But because they've been there for so long, I think that the reality is not the reality anymore. They're somewhere in space, and their thought process is not like of an average person who can distinguish that this person is mistreating them, and also distinguish, because there's relationships that we've all been in the past, and whether we're in them now or we moved on, we can look back and say there were red flags, and we know going forward not to keep repeating these patterns.
And then I gave everybody, the woman, Chief was like, go ahead, y'all, give her a hug. And then they all hugged me. Then Mama Aya was like, are you hungry? I was like, no. I was like so surprised. I was like, no, not yet. I'm not hungry. But that food was good. He was standing like a king. He was standing like a king.
Now, I know that they have seen the red flags over and over again, time after time, but they chose, when he was free, prior to him getting locked up, to stay, because he had put them in a situation where they felt like they needed him. Like they were saying probably to themselves, my family doesn't care about me like Nature Boy does, even if he does mistreat me sometime, because they wouldn't have taken me to all these places around the world, and I wouldn't have seen these countries and lived in these tropical places and learned some of the things that I did learn if I was home with friends and family. So that's how sometimes, and I can only speak for women, we try to make sense out of a situation with a man that is either physically or mentally abusing us. We try to look in all the time in the good and not really focus on the bad. Now, that is good that we do that, but in some cases, You have to focus on the bad, and you have to outweigh, is a good worth staying for and dealing with the bad, or is this going to cost me my mental, my health, and perhaps my life? I think that if you outweigh the two, which they're not doing that because they're in denial. They know what's actually going on. They know that they're not being treated correctly. They know that it's not normal for someone who is supposed to be referring to you as their wives, shouldn't be having you lift up your shirt and show your tea bags to the world, just standing there doing something that is violating you. You're not feeling comfortable inside, but you're doing it to get the validation from one man, and he's literally not showing you or reciprocating the same respect and love back to you. He's doing some sort of thing like gorilla pimping. He's allowing the public to see what's going on behind closed doors and how much control he has of the person's mind, whether it's the men over there or the women, and he's degrading them to big himself up. And I don't think that they're seeing this for what it is. I don't think that they will ever maybe see it for what it is. Or better yet, they may not even get out of this situation to ever get a glimpse of that where they were currently at, because they're going to stay there stuck for a long while, is not where it's at. And I just hope that they learn these lessons sooner than later. I hope he doesn't finesse them into doing a bid with him, and then they'll be so far gone, like a Charles Manson type of situation, where those women would have did anything for Charles Manson. If I believe if they stay long distance in that relationship while he's in jail, and they do that bid with him, because I know women in my real life that have done bids with babies' fathers, husbands. We all can relate. And they were in jail for quite some time, and I'm talking about years, and we end up back in relationships with these people when we knew prior to them going to jail they weren't good for us. So we just got to see how this is going to play out. Like I said, he hasn't murked anybody. Natureboy hasn't. So yeah, he's looking at some serious time. But if he doesn't get the time that people are hoping that he gets in the community, these women are going to be subjected back to the same treatment. Because always remember, people, when they tell you who they are, you need to believe them. And someone that has set in their ways at the age that Natureboy is at right now, currently, they don't change overnight. That is who they are, and that's what you need to accept and make the decision whether or not you're gonna accept it and deal with it, or just move on.